Hey everyone, welcome to this special workshop that we've got for you here today, where we're going to be talking about the system that we've used to make over $76,000 in just 24 hours selling super simple, high profit products without needing to worry about Amazon, without needing to worry about Facebook, without placing any large inventory orders, using any overseas suppliers, or so many of the other headaches that have plagued e-commerce sellers forever. So your hosts today. Hopefully, some of you will know us. Many of you will know us already. That's me on the left there, Aidan Booth. I'm from New Zealand originally, grew up on a sheep and beef farm in rural New Zealand, and I've lived in Buenos Aires, Argentina for about the last 15 years. And I got started online in 2005 because I was searching for geographic freedom. I met my now wife on a ski trip in the United States, and I decided that I wanted to go to Argentina, but I had no way of making money, couldn't speak Spanish, so I turned online, and that's when my sort of journey with online business began, and it's been the best thing that I ever did. Now, Steve, you come from a completely different background. Why don't you share that with everyone here today?
Yeah, absolutely. For those of you guys who don't know me, this is sort of my second career, depending on how you count it. I did a whole stint in corporate, even though I was a frustrated entrepreneur the whole time. So I did, darn near 18 years in corporate and was a chief information officer for a public company. And I ended my corporate career as a VP for a Fortune 500 company. I'm glad I did it. I learned a lot, but I had a lot of financial freedom. They pay you pretty well when you have a job like that. But I had zero time freedom, zero geographic freedom, and I was, really, really unhappy. And I just knew that in order to be just to be my best self, in order to be happy, I knew I had to try and go out on my own. So, damn near 15 years ago now, started building online businesses, became a serial entrepreneur. And I always like to say I haven't had a real job since, and it's been a fantastic journey, one that I hope I can help you guys take as well.
Yeah, and look, the reason that we share this information is because if you're going to be sitting here with us for the next hour or so listening to us, I think it's important that you know a little bit about who we are. We've got 30 years of combined experience online at this point. We've helped thousands of students. We've got thousands of student success stories as well. And I think one of the most important things for you to know is that what we're talking about here today, this is not theory. Everything that we're sharing with you is real in the trenches strategy that we use on a daily basis. So we've got lots of good stuff here. So right before we officially dive in, just your checklist. We want to make sure that you are 100% tuned in because it's not every day you get the opportunity to be on a workshop, which I think is pretty important, like this one. So log out of Facebook, social media, Instagram, put your phone on silent, and get comfortable because if you're ready, we are ready. And just do me a favor, type I'm ready into the chat box. And with that said, once I can see at least half of the people here typing I'm ready, we are gonna dive in. I want to make sure you guys are engaged. So type I'm ready into the question box. And with that said, we are gonna dive in. Okay, looks like people are ready. So let's dive in here, guys. Here's what we are talking about today. It's a breakthrough system, a quantum leap forward in the world of selling products online, and how we've used it to generate $1.18 million in just 30 days. You're going to see the secret toolbox that we're using to run the system to make thousands of dollars every single day like clockwork. You're going to see astonishing results. You're going to see why this is no longer a game of chance, how you can control everything, and how this works faster than anything we've seen in the past. And you can see another screenshot there, $76,993. That's in just 24 hours. That's what's at stake here today. You're going to see a tester website, a real case studies that show that newbies can make this work. A simple site run by a tester which generated $140,000 in sales. Less than 1 hour to get set up. You're going to see results live. You'll see the kinds of products we're selling to make this kind of money. And I think the most important thing is you're going to see how simple all of this is. We've got huge student proof to show you to the tune of $128,000 per month. That's not one of our screenshots. That's a student screenshot. 9,800 orders, 500th order. These are people that have come in with no previous experience, and are earning amazing incomes. We've got a lot of incredible success stories to share with you. And I think it's also important to know that many of the traditional obstacles have been completely eliminated. So there's no Amazon involved. There's no Facebook advertising. There's no inventory that you need to buy up front. There's no dealing with China. There's no importing from China. This is very different, I think, to what anyone here would have seen before. And you can use it to create an immediate positive cash flow. And as I keep coming back to, it really is breathtakingly simple. And you're going to see how simple it is when Steve gets into the nitty-gritty details in a few moments' time here. Plus, at the end of the workshop, we've got a gift for everyone. So stick around until the very end. We've got a gift worth $297, and we'll give you a special link to where you can download that at the end of the workshop here. And with that said, Steve, it's probably a good time for you to jump in now. I can see your screen has popped up, so take it away. I should also mention, guys, if you have just joined us, come say hello in the question box. Make sure that is working, and we've got some of our team here behind the scenes. We want you to ask questions. That's what this is all about. We want to make sure you get your questions answered. So, Steve, I'm going to put myself on mute now, and you can take it away.
Yep, absolutely. So here we are, 2020, and what Aiden said this the other day, which just completely blew me away. He's like, dude, you realize like in a couple of days, almost 10% of 2020 is already over. So, I mean, yes, we just turned the corner, but I still think we all want to have this sense of urgency. And I suspect that if you're listening to my voice right now, what you want to be doing is building your own business. So what are the options that people look at if they're new or if they already have, maybe one small business online and they want to expand? These are probably the most popular. They're probably the most popular for the reason that they are the easiest, quote unquote, to get involved in. Many variations of e-commerce are probably the absolute easiest. There are other models for sure, but I suspect that every one of you at least knows something about these models. Or you've tried them, Amazon FBA or Amazon private label, where you have your own product, Amazon wholesale, where you are buying products from wholesalers, you're buying other people's products like Rubbermaid trash cans, and you're selling those on Amazon. Affiliate marketing, where you're actually doing the advertising and marketing other people's products, and then you make a commission. Designing and developing and then selling information products. So, again, these are probably the four models that people think about most of the time when they're just starting out. And look, we love them all. We've been doing this a really long time. I don't think that there's an online business model that we don't do. We don't do a lot of Kindle anymore, but that's about the only thing. And these models are all good. So I am not here to suggest that any one of them individually suck. We built big businesses out of every single one of these models, and they can produce huge profits. We do 7 figures in all of them. But listen, the one thing that we've learned over and over again, with over a decade of teaching students and teaching tens of thousands of them, is that the most common reason that people give up is that they fail to see results quickly enough, and it's kind of human nature. That's not a criticism. I think we can all fit into that. And all of the business models that we were just talking about have obstacles that make some of them, kind of notoriously difficult, and can take, many months for the effort that goes into them to sort of materialize into sales or cash flow or success, depending on how you define that. I mean, if you think about Amazon FBA and Amazon private label, same thing, where you're actually designing and manufacturing a product. You need a lot of capital for that because typically you're buying 500, 1,000, sometimes 2,000 units. A lot of upfront time and effort goes into designing the product, testing the product, finding a manufacturer, and then shipping these goods often by sea. And so now that alone could take 60, 90 days. It takes a long, long time before you can start to actually design a product, get it built, buy enough of them, get it to Amazon, get it sold, and so on and so forth. Cash flow is the biggest downside of that business model. Now, if you look at the Amazon wholesale model, that kind of corrects the biggest problem because it is a very, very quick cash flow model. However, The legal side of this can be a bit of a nightmare. You need to figure out and navigate reseller certificates, licenses, corporate setups, particularly if you're outside of the United States. It can be a roadblock. And overall, the Amazon ecosystem, and this applies both for FBA and for wholesale, the Amazon ecosystem, I personally think, is reaching the point where I do think it's going to pivot in the next couple of years. But you're getting to the point where the Amazon fees and the competition and some of the complexity of the traffic within that ecosystem are making a lot of barriers really to entry for people. And if you think about affiliate marketing, again, from the time perspective, there's a lot of great cash flow. There's a lot of good things about all these models. But the biggest problem here is that you often have to, kiss a lot of frogs before you find your prince, to use that wonderful metaphor. Because, finding a great offer that you know how to convert, that you can build a sales funnel for, that's stable, that's evergreen, takes some time. Maybe you have to run through 4 or 5 of them. Maybe you get lucky in the first one, but you can't count on that, right? So, and this could be a great place to start, but at the end of the day, no matter how well you do with affiliate marketing, you're actually really only building someone else's business because you don't own the product. And then if you think about information products, look, there's huge amounts of effort and cost that go into, designing training courses or, video series, PDFs, whatever it is, software. And then you have to worry about all of the marketing, sales material, copywriting, your own affiliate materials. It takes a lot of effort and a lot of things that need to go into it before you can start to see results. So of course, again, I want to stress, I am not here to bash all these business models. We love them. We do all of them. And these obstacles can all be overcome, right? But 2 issues. One is, how long is it going to take you? Because, it's really, really important. In fact, I would argue the most important thing to have early success. That's the one takeaway that we've learned after doing this for so long. The other thing to think about with all of these models is there's one make or break factor for not just all of these models, but for every single model, and that is traffic. And traffic is becoming it's always been a concern, right? It's obviously because it's always a make or break issue for any business model. However, we'll talk about some of the reasons why it's becoming, more and more of a challenge and more of an obstacle. But traffic is the one thing, that's key to everything. If you don't have traffic, I don't care how good everything else is, you're not going to do well. So we're in kind of a weird paradox now. I've said this before, and it is never more true than right this very moment in time. As marketers, we are in the absolute best time in the history of mankind as it relates to being able to get traffic, get incredibly targeted traffic, get traffic with high commercial intent, and get it at a reasonable price. The problem, though, is what's happening is the price that we're paying for that, incredible opportunity is complexity. Facebook, Amazon, Google AdWords, and SEO, which are really the 4, big guys. These are the places where if you don't get traffic from at least, one of these sources, it's going to be a problem. These guys are becoming more and more complicated, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as we discuss kind of what the solution to that problem is in a couple of minutes. But I'm sure that anybody here who's done any Facebook traffic, any Amazon pay-per-click, any Google AdWords, any SEO, you guys understand 10 years ago, it was cake. 5 years ago, it was easy. 2 years ago, yeah, it's okay. And now, for some reasons that we'll talk about, it is very, very challenging. Not to say that that's an obstacle that can't be overcome, because we all do, but it is not a place where I want a beginner to wade in. Now, I've got some other traffic sources that are a little bit easier to play with, but honestly, these are, you would think about these more as like gravy traffic sources. These are not the ones that you want to build the foundation of traffic. They are perfectly reasonable, good traffic sources, and we use them, but they're not going to, you've got to nail something on this list or something that takes the place of something on that list in order to be successful. So I don't even have to ask, because I know that you've struggled, getting traffic before. And here's the good news: the system that we're sharing with you guys today uses a secret traffic source. It's a secret hiding out in plain sight, quite frankly. It's immediate, it's targeted, it's reliable, it's easy to get, it's predictable, it's scalable. But I think the issue is remember I was talking about, we can get a lot of traffic, we can get it cheap, we can get it highly targeted or with high commercial intent. And I said, but the trade-off is complexity. So what I submit to you is the traffic source that we're using, that we're talking about today, gives you all of those good things without the complexity. And when I say without the complexity, I mean it goes from like 11 on a scale of 1 to 10 to 0, with this traffic source. And we'll show you what it is and a little bit more information. But if you get rid of those obstacles, then it just further aligns with this objective of start earning faster, get those early runs on the board, right? So let's talk, I'm just gonna take a quick drink. E-commerce has evolved quite a bit. We've been on quite a journey. Really it started, even before 2007. But, back in 2007, we were, and we kind of did a jump here on this slide because there's a lot here. But there was a whole period of time where you couldn't do drop shipping even prior to that. You had to, or at least you had to find special suppliers and sort of beg them to drop ship and all that sort of stuff. But pretty much we solved that problem. And so we had a great, system way back then. You're talking about now, amazingly, more than a decade ago. And we had search engine optimization as traffic. We had AdWords to traffic as traffic. We owned the store, we owned the customer information, and we didn't have to make big inventory orders because we had relationships with suppliers. And we basically drop shipped. So we only bought from the supplier when we had an order from a customer. And life was good. But the problem is that over time, SEO and AdWords became much more difficult and much more expensive. So it sort of drove us into the Amazon white label model. So here, and again, it was really to solve the traffic problem and some of the done for you logistics, But what you'll see in this evolution, I think the theme is that each point where we evolve, we sort of solved some of the problems, but perhaps introduced new ones. As we moved into Amazon, we started to, run into the issue of Amazon holding all the cards, Amazon owning all the customer information, us having to buy all of our inventory up front, the incredible competition, the Amazon fees that keep growing and growing, right? And the complexity within the Amazon ecosystem to get traffic. And really, you have to do your own Amazon SEO. You have to do your own Amazon AdWords, just Amazon pay-per-click. And so we solved some problems, we introduced some new ones, and then we're like, okay, well, let's try and solve some of those problems. So we moved out of Amazon in 2016, and we moved back to more of a dropship order, but still using China and using Facebook traffic, right? Because at that point, it was a lot easier to get Facebook traffic. We use Shopify as a platform. And again, that solved lots of problems for us. We didn't have to buy the inventory up front. We had a great source of traffic. It was pretty easy, but it introduced some new ones. Not the least of which was the product delivery being slow because it was from China. And then all of a sudden, Facebook started to get much more complicated. So we'll sort of get to that in a minute. I'll talk a little bit more about that. And then we moved over to, and by the way, when I say we moved over, we still do all of these things. The idea here is that we're trying to come up with the way, as we evolve here, we're trying to come up with the easiest path, the path of least resistance for people to build, stable, big online businesses and to get early success. Okay, that's kind of that's what's driving the evolution here. And as we moved into 2018, we got into Amazon wholesale and we solved some problems and introduced, some new ones. Not the least of which was now we're back on Amazon and we sort of inherited those same problems, which, oh, by the way, in a 5-year span, they got worse as far as the ability to get traffic, to compete, and the costs. So this is a long way of saying our journey to 2020, which is, we decided a year or so ago, look, we are going to move to a model. We're going to do some research. We ended up going even to Japan to do that. We're going to move to a model where we're not going to make these trade-offs anymore. We're not going to solve some problems and introduce some new ones. We're just going to solve all the damn problems. So the challenge for us, and I think where we've succeeded, is in 2020, with the model that we're talking about here today, the Kibo code, we have solved all of the problems that we have introduced over these evolutions, and we have not introduced any new ones. That is my my argument to you, and that's why, you know, this is very different. It's unique. It's revolutionary. You know, again, this is, you know, on the theme of just trying to solve all these problems. You don't need a product of your own. You don't need Facebook as a traffic source. You don't need Amazon or an Amazon account. You don't need to worry about company setups, the legal aspects, the admins. You don't have to worry about even the sales tax issue started to become problematic within Amazon, because all of a sudden Amazon, because of who they are, required you to start to collect sales tax almost from everywhere, because they had a nexus everywhere. Don't worry if you don't understand that. We might talk a little bit about that later, but the bottom line is our new model solves that problem. So it gets rid of all these admin permissions, licenses, reseller certificates. You don't need any of that. Gets rid of overseas suppliers, gets rid of the need to buy inventory up front, and it gets rid of the need to be in the United States. This is the absolute easiest model to do from outside the United States while still marketing to the US market, which is, you know, again, sort of that path of least resistance, the biggest, most hungry market. One of the key differences, and this is something that we really, we'll talk about this in a second, but we learned in Japan. I don't know about you, but I'm quite certain that almost every single, you know, business opportunity course that you've ever taken starts with, first, pick a niche. It's like, okay, I'm kind of tired of that. I'm sure you're tired of that. And normally that's kind of where you start. You start with choosing a market or a niche and, you know, build some branding around that, a website, a brand name, some sales collateral, that kind of stuff. And then you search for products within that niche. Nothing wrong with that, okay? But it can take a lot of time to get that done and to make sure you get that done correctly. And then plus, you know, God forbid, you sort of pick the wrong niche and you've kind of done all this work and you're sort of like, you're kind of stuck with it unless you want to go back and start over. But what we're doing here is we're focused not on niches, we're focused on products. So we don't care so much. We don't do market or niche research. We use these simple, scalable websites, and we focus on these mega stores where we can sell any type of product. I don't care what it is. The key issue is it profitable? Is it going to make us money? I just don't care what it is. And this model really comes from Japan, and a company that we've been researching and reading about for a couple years now. And we finally went to Japan, and we said we're going to sort of reverse engineer this. It's a very large company, brick and mortar company called Don Quixote in Japan. And these guys make billions of dollars every year. It's one of the most successful retail operations in Japan. And they sell every single type of product you can possibly imagine. Going into one of these stores is like one of the ones we went into in Tokyo. I think it was 9 floors. And there wasn't an inch of shelf space that wasn't covered with everything from towels to TVs to trench coats to Tamagotchis to, I mean, absolutely anything you could possibly think of. And they have a really unique way of doing things. They load up their storefronts with these different products. Now, mind you, they apply some metrics. They don't just put anything in there. They have, you know, some metrics that they look at as far as market demand and margins and availability and all that sort of stuff. And they load up their storefronts with these different products. They see what sells. They place the best-selling products in the more visible places, and they just get rid of the ones that don't sell. And they just sort of continue to do that. You know, add products, test, replace, optimize their positioning, and boosting their sales and increasing their profits until they have a store just kind of stacked full of crap that makes them money. And, you know, it's an elegant model that's fairly simple. It's a little bit complicated to do with brick and mortar, but boy, when you apply it to online, it is so much easier. So we were kind of reverse engineered this model and brought it online, and we're able to test these products in multiple niches all at the same time. And then we get this traffic method to immediately position the products at the top of the search engines for the most profitable keywords. By the way, we do that without even having to know what the most profitable keywords are, which I swear I will tell you how we do that shortly. And we're able to target people who are actively looking to buy and get this instant buyer traffic, and then just get rid of the ones that don't sell and keep the ones that do. So what do you think you get at the end of that? You get an online store full of products that all convert to sales and profits. And it takes, like a minute to set this thing up, and then, you get traffic immediately. You can test fast. We'll show you one slide of a beta tester who, the first day made hundreds of dollars in sales. And that's very much the norm, and it's fast. We make money almost instantly, and then we scale. And there's no market research, no product creation, no inventory, no messing about with Facebook and Amazon. Look, this is what we're talking about. This is the order of magnitude. Here's a couple of test stores for the month of November. 30-day sales periods, over 4,000 orders, 4,500 orders in each, 354,000 in sales in one, 260,000 in another. These numbers are, I know they're crazy during, stuff like this, but I don't know how else to say it. They're attainable, they're doable. One of the key points is that, why would you want to just sell one product in one niche when you can, this is the Don Quixote method, right? Sell 50 profitable products in multiple niches and make 50 times as much money. I've been talking a while here. Just give me a yes or a no. If this is making sense, just give me a yes or no. You don't have to tell me anything. Okay, yes. Somebody said, somebody was saying Christmas sales. Yeah, absolutely. We just had to, we were doing this prior to this, so it kind of worked out that way. So yeah, it definitely, sales are going to be better during the holidays, for sure. But cut it in half. It's still, which it's not that much of an impact. So thanks for that, by the way. That's super helpful. It looks like everybody's kind of on board. So what do you need to get started with this? You kind of need three things. You need a platform that converts. So you need a website, a shopping site, whatever you want to call it. You need products that you can sell, and you need that traffic source. So, what we've done is we've been spending our time putting together the best practices, of a site. If you start from scratch, you got to worry about, all right, well, what colors should the site be? What buttons should be on there? How should the fonts look? How should the descriptions look? Where should the pictures be? Where's the add to cart button? All this kind of crap. What we've done is we've gotten rid of all of that. So we essentially have, a theme or a foundation, a structure. You just push a button and there you go. The store's ready. It's ready for you to then do the next thing, which is find products. And we're going to talk about this, but the bottom line is we want to get rid of all the roadblocks and everything. So we have all the products. So we have a database right now of about 3 million products. And we'll talk much more about this shortly. But you're also going to see how we wanted to go one step further and give you 5 products. So that you don't have to worry about this, and you don't have to worry about picking the wrong products or anything like that. We're going to talk a lot more about that because it's really, really key. You're also going to see how valuable 5 products can be, and I'll show you that in just a second. And then you're going to launch your campaign, your traffic source, which is super, super easy. You're going to pay for very cheap clicks that you absolutely know will turn into a profit. And I'll discuss the traffic in just 1 second, okay? And then, it's just about making sales and profits, optimizing the campaigns, keep testing the products. You're going to have an endless supply of products. So you're going to end up with, these high converting products that make you the most money. And, it's just really about rinsing and repeating at that point. Finding these additional products. You can go from 100 a day to 1,000 to 2,500 beyond. You could build more stores. You could do this in a bunch of different ways, which, obviously we'll show you. But just to give you some idea about how valuable these products are, okay? And like you're going to see a couple of case studies, and these are not product catalogs of 50 products. It's like 3 different products, that make up the sales. So, but if you can sort of think through like the scale here and the order of magnitude, if you got one product that makes 12 sales a day, which is, very, very reasonable, and, about $70 a pop, if you find one of these products each month out of a database of 3 million, and that database is increasing every single day, and we're going to give you 5 anyway. So it's not really hard to find 3, especially because we're giving you 5. But anyway, if you find one, 12 sales a day, you're at 840 a day, just like that. Month 2, find another one. Month 3, find another one. And, pretty soon now you're at 3 products, 12 sales a day at $70, and you're at, over $2,500 a day. It's pretty easy math, and it's pretty easy to see and understand and scale. And this is the kind of thing that is happening with our beta testers. So let's talk about the traffic source, because we've been alluding to that. And we use the shopping platforms. It's the biggest secret that is hiding out there in plain sight. And the reason, I've talked a little bit about this, but I love these next couple slides because they really encapsulate what I'm talking about here. It is insane the amount of power, right? I keep talking about this, that we have as marketers for traffic. It's amazing. It's unbelievable. But the complexity is off the charts. Facebook is insane. There is so much to learn there. 11 different ad types, 28 ad positions, 9 different call to action buttons, split tests, pixels, lookalike audiences. It's crazy to try and learn this. You'll spend a year learning it, and then the minute you're an expert, what will happen is Facebook will make changes, which they do every single day. And then I'm not even talking about the graphic design and copywriting that you need. Look at the ads that you're starting to see in your Facebook newsfeed. These are not done by people like me, who suck at graphic design. I can probably make my way through the copywriting, but God help us if I'm responsible for graphic design. Every single one of them looks like they were created by, an MBA guy who's been doing Mad Men advertising for, 20 years. Colleges are offering entire degrees in social media marketing. This has just really been a big change in the last few years. The game has completely changed. And then let's talk about SEO, for crying out loud. And by the way, this applies to both AdWords and Facebook. And if you look at SEO, let's say you want to learn SEO. Great, buy that book. It's 1,000 freaking pages. And oh, by the way, the minute you get that book, it is out of date. Because one of the dirty little secrets is that Google doesn't even know what their algorithm does anymore. They really don't. They really do not. They can change it, they can modify it, but at the end of the day, the results, the search engine results that they get are actually, they're sometimes a surprise to them. And Facebook, has really swung the pendulum here with being, protectionist, and is closing accounts, and much like AdWords back 10 years ago, which has changed dramatically. Look, here's Aiden. Aiden just got his account closed. Now, what did he do? Who the hell knows? Who knows? There's no real written rules because they're changing it every minute, so fast. So these are all the challenges that we're faced with. But the Google shopping and Bing shopping platforms and a couple other of these shopping platforms, they're hilarious. All you do, right, is you say, hey, I've got one of these to sell. That's it. That's it. You don't have to do, these ad types, ad positions, call to action buttons, split tests, keywords. You don't even have to do keywords. No pixels, no split tests, no lookalike audiences. Everything. What you basically do is you end up like this, okay? And you say to Google, look, I got one of these things to sell. I don't understand all the complexity of this whole advertising thing. So do me a favor. Could you please just show my product when you think people are looking for it? And if you think about it, that is the best thing to do, because that is the one thing that they do really, really well. I am certain that everyone that can hear my voice has had the experience where they start to type something in Google and it's like, holy shit, Google knows exactly what I was looking for before I even got 2 characters typed out. They just nail this. And then Bing just copies everything that they do. But they know, I don't care what you type in. You could have typed in HAP and they would have already known that you actually were looking for a hamster cage. And it's a conversation for another day, but it's because they know absolutely everything about us and there's no privacy left in the world. So the reason why this is so revolutionary, right, is because it gives you all the good, much like the whole theme here of the evolution, right? It gives you all of the good, right? You get all the traffic, you get cheap traffic, you get highly converting traffic, good commercial intent, easy, fast, you get all that without the complexity. And you basically just say, yeah, Google, could you just please take care of that for me? It's amazing. You don't have to work, you don't have to copyright, you don't have to do graphics, nothing. So I don't want to say nobody's using this. Of course, people are using this, but it's not very sexy. Google does not make as much, anywhere near as much money on this, so they don't talk about it. It just quietly lives in the background. And you know, the most successful e-commerce people take great advantage of it. So it's just kind of hiding out there in plain sight. So look, this is just some things to think about. This is kind of a one-time setup. You know, it's quick and easy. You set up your store, and then from there you can, and we'll show this later on. You know, you could just push buttons and test out products. It's very, very easy. You don't need to talk to customers. You never need to see or handle the products you're selling. You know, maybe a year from now you want to. You know, I mean, you want to increase your margins. Maybe you want to go from 40% margins to 60% margin because you already know you sell 20 of these a day. You're going to buy 5,000 of them. You're going to get your warehouse. You're going to, I mean, so it's not that you don't, it's not that you never can. It's just that you don't have to. And that's the beauty here, is that we're, again, think about, we're trying to solve the problems that we've introduced in the past and not introduce any new ones. Okay. And then the traffic solution, you know, I've kind of beat that to a dead horse, but dead horse here. But, you know, it's something that, you know, if you're using Facebook, you don't have a freaking clue what you're ultimately going to pay for traffic. And it's really a hope-based strategy. No traffic issues, no risk, very low competition, very high profit, very fast results, no supplier headaches. I mean, and you only need a few products. We've got a lot of stories. You know, what we do, well, we always do this, right? So our model is we test things, we build businesses. Everything that works, we end up teaching because we love to teach, you know. And believe me, there's plenty of shit that doesn't work that you never see, because why, we're not going to teach you that. But one of the things that we do before we teach it is we get together a small group of beta testers. And we have to make sure that not only does it work for us, but it works for others, and that we can train people and we can, you know, results are reproducible. So, you know, one of the early ones was JB, and we helped him get his site up, and you know, showed him our product strategies and gave him the traffic strategy, let him run with it. And this was his first 14 days. So almost $17,000 there. So you can see all the gory details. Okay, very, very. And for people who are going to talk about returns at some point, that's an even lower return rate. Usually you see around 1%. We'll talk about that during Q&A, but very, very small, very small. So incredibly impressive. I'm sure that everybody would like to have their first, you know, 14 days look something like that. Got another beta tester here. This was the first day, $316.13. Now, that's not going to blow you away. That's not going to be life-changing. But I tell you what, the person who makes that on the first day is going to stick with it and get to their day 6, and that's going to be a $1,300 day, and their day 30, and that's going to be a $2,174 day. And look at this. This is the same beta test, 10-week test, 141,000 in net sales, 154,000 in sales, 13,000 returns, 141,000 in net sales, and a very, very high profit margin in this case, $70,000. And we're talking about 3 products, guys. And this is today. Well, I think this is actually like 2 days ago, if I'm not mistaken. So about 2 days ago, and 2.16.